Orlando Pirates ezikamakebhula ezakebhula umhlaba kamasipala zawubhekisa phezulu ezimnyama ngenkani once and always they are facing Pyramids FC in the CAF Champions League semi-final. Woo! What a game it's going to be, Bafethu. And this is the BigDaddy football corner where we sit and we tactically break down all Orlando Pirates matches pre and post, especially big one. And this is one of the biggest semi-final. And I'm doing this pre-match analysis, but specifically I call it pre-match tactical opposition analysis because I want to dive deep and look at Pyramids FC just so that every Orlando Pirates as a fan, they know exactly what are they facing when they are facing this club. So I made a mistake in the previous pre-match tactical analysis against MC Alger. I went and I watched them playing in the league game, and I based my analysis on that. Then I realized that when they play Champions League, they play differently than they play in the league. Just like Orlando Pirates, when you watch them in the league, they play a back four, and you start seeing probably more spaces on their rest defense, 2-2 rest defense. You're seeing the spaces behind, on the side as well as behind the center backs. Come CAF Champions League, they're playing 3 center backs, compact, narrow. They're closing the spaces, and they are not there anymore. Those spaces. So what I then did in this one for Pyramids FC, I went and watched the extended highlights of their matches, the 2 on the quarterfinals, and I went and watched another 2 as well from their group stages, especially the one that they lost as well. Esperance, if I'm not mistaken, they lost 2-0. Just to look at any weaknesses. So my analysis are based on 40 minutes of extended and highlights that I watch for this particular club. So what I'm going to cover in this one is one, I'll look at the game model, the Pyramids. I'll then also look at the danger that they possess, that Orlando Pirates need to be cognizant of. I'll also look at the glaring weaknesses that this Pyramid FC team has. Maybe let's start with who are they, right? They started playing CAF Champions League in 2018. And Orlando Pirates, you remember they won this thing like way back in 1995, right? This is the first time they're in CAF Champions League knockout. And the first time that last year they didn't go through to the group stages in 2025, which means from an experience of playing this kind of games, they don't have much of it. But let's go and look at their qualitative data, especially in the CAF Champions League. So out of 8 games, they scored a whooping 18 goals, guys. But what's interesting about that is 17 of those goals, they scored them at home. They only scored 1 away from home. And they only conceded 7 out of the 8 games. They finished second on their group D. They were 2 points behind Aspirants in that group. But if you look at it in the entire group, I think they scored the most goals in the group stages. But it's the same as Al Ahly. It's 14 goals, right? They also considered the same goals as Orlando Pirates. If I'm not mistaken, they considered about 4. They've just won their quarterfinal match 3-4, and I think 4-3 basically. And in the first leg, they won 4-1, and then they lost 2-0. But then on aggregate, they then went through. But if you look at the numbers without watching their games, just look at their numbers, and you look at the players with better stats. They've got their top goal scorer in CAF Champions League, Abraham Adil. He scored about 5 goals. People that follow me on Twitter will know how much I've spoke about this player, especially after Olympics last year. And I said this is the next superstar, Egyptian superstar. They've also feasted on Maele, who's also got 3 goals. And then there's also Ramadan Sobi, who's got 5 assists, which shows that's just looking at the data alone. You can look at where the goals are as well as where the assists are coming from. So then let's look at their game model. So for me, they are built up. Let's start there. They're using a combined game, short ball build-up play. But the difference with how they do it with Orlando Pirates is they are always looking for a player that is always cheats behind the defensive line. So when they progress play, they always look at the player in front of the defensive line, and then they use that player to progress play. As well as in the final third, right? When they get into the creation zone, they also use Dusobi, who I've mentioned as a player that has got most assists, who cheats just behind of the defensive line of the opposition. He sits in front of and he's the connector that sits behind Fiston in be able to feed all their attackers in those particular, as well as in the alarm zone, as I've mentioned, as well as the welfare zone in their build-up. He always sits there as well to progress play, right? They also press from their own side. They press with a 1-2 triangle. The difference is with Sundowns, they press with 2, and then at the base they only got 1 player. But Bona, they press with 1, and then at the base they've got 2. So that's the difference in terms of how they press the opposition, right? Their last defensive line, though, has a tendency to push up the line a little bit, so into like a mid block, you know, in terms, and I think against Orlando Pirates, they're likely to drop into a low block, especially in the first leg, so that they don't concede. They try to always play a lot of offside traps, even when they are closer to the box, and I just smell a goal in that scenario, right? And if you look at balls, that Orlando Pirates can also play balls over the defensive line, because they always like to play those offside trap, and they also like to push the line a little bit. So in terms of their rest defense, they always alternate between a 3-1 rest defense and a 2-2 rest defense. They are also very vulnerable to be caught on transition. So Orlando Pirates must look at that as well. But I think in the first leg, they are likely to try and stick into ensuring that the back four doesn't move, right? And then there's also one biggest vulnerability that they have. Number one was that they're easily caught on transition. You know, I've seen a couple of their games where they're caught on transition. But number two, which is one of the biggest, they always have a free, or in what we call the red zone. There's always a vacant space. There's always an island into that. If you go back, watch how Orlando Pirates scored against MC Alger, they were using that red zone. And I'm sure that the technical team in Orlando Pirates will notice the very same thing. And I'm telling you now that Orlando Pirates is going to play and will always try to find that free player in that red zone. The last time they were using Umahopa more to flick the ball into Bonkota, into Borele, into run through, so that I think Orlando Pirates are likely to use that. So that is one of their biggest weaknesses. Just in front of the back four, they always have that player is always vacant. I don't know how many games I've seen where that player, there is an island that exists into that, right? Even the first goal that they considered against ASFA was from such a vulnerability, right? So Orlando Pirates need to ensure that they always have a free player in front of their back four, to be always that vacant space. They always use it, right? But one thing about them, if you make any mistake, you know, in the final third, they will punish you. Go and watch the game that they played against ASFA, the first leg. They scored 3 goals, you know, and all those goals they did not sweat. It was just mistake. From mistake goal, from mistake goal, from mistake goal. You make a mistake against these guys, they will punish you, right? But their defense backline, for me, is also one of their biggest weaknesses. For me, is teka-tekering, especially on 1v1 situation. Orlando Pirates, skillful players with speed, they are likely to create. And if Orlando Pirates can create a lot of such scenarios, I want to believe they have a goal there. Oh, I was hoping Gutu Saleng, you know, he was going to play this game because he will eat nicely, right? But if you attack them through the wings, Orlando Pirates need to make sure when they do their cutbacks, they do a cutbacks in front of the defensive line for that vacant island that I'm talking about. It is always there and it always exists, even when they are defending from the wings, right? Their defense is a little bit slow. They are very naive in terms of how they defend. For me, Pyramid's biggest weakness is their defense. If you're making runs on the shoulders of their defenders, you have a chance to get them. And again, if you happen to go on a cross, if you don't cut back in front of them, cut to the far post, because they always leave that area unattended, because they always dragged into where the ball is being played, and that's where you are likely to get a goal. So where are they deadly, or where they are the most difficult? Their counter press, guys, is second to none. I don't think there's any club in the CAF Champions League that have a counter press like Pyramids FC, right? They always win the balls higher up the pitch, and they always want to catch opposition on transition. Orlando Pirates need to be careful on that, right? Also, there is no club in the CAF Champions League which is deadly on free kicks, just like Pyramids. And for me, mostly it's their lateral free kicks where they are they are the most dangerous. Why in Shojara? It's because they have players that have technical ability to be able to deliver the ball into the box effortlessly. The boy called Mustafa Fatu, which is number left-footed, he scored a sweet left foot. Those in swings inside the box, beautiful. They also get Mohamed Umfogatribi, that right back on number 15. He also delivered in swing with his right foot, pinpoint. And for me, Orlando Pirates need to ensure that they don't concede any free kicks near the box, especially when you need to cross the ball inside the box, right? They also have Abraham Adil that I've spoken about. He's a dribbling wizard. He's great, guys. He is great. He always creates something out of nothing. He's got magic in his feet, and the stats that I'm gonna cite at the end will tell you about. Will tell you more about him, right? So if you look at especially Mustafa, he's deadly on set pieces. I said he's got that tech left foot, just like Udlamini. And again, they prefer more in swings on their lateral free kicks. As well as Orlando Pirates need to be careful of the dummy runs that they make on their set pieces, because sometimes the one player is going to make a run, and then another second player make a run, and then the third time, that's when they play the ball. So Orlando Pirates need to be switched on for such scenarios, because you can catch people off guard with those. So again, when they deliver those crosses inside the box, they always cross it into the penalty spot area. So it's important for Orlando Pirates to have zonal marking and make sure that area is always covered, because they're always looking at that particular area. So Orlando Pirates need to avoid cheap free kicks, right? Because their reference players will always be Fiston Mayele, they are number 9, right? And their captain is always number 5, Ali Kap. He's about 1.93 centimeters. He is a big boy. You play the ball there in the center area, he gets there first than anybody else, right? And then, for me, there's no club for me in the entire CAF Champions League that has an attacking threat, just like Pyramids. Their attack for me, their front four, for me, it's the strongest in the CAF Champions League. Because I've already started this, let us look at their most dangerous players. Number 1, Fiston Mayele. For me, he is the best and the most complete number 9 in the entire CAF Champions League. For me, he's the beast. And no wonder Nabi, from Kaizer Chiefs wants him, and he wants him like yesterday. Number 2, Abraham Adil, number 30. I told you he's the next Egyptian superstar. If you look at in the CAF Champions League, he's got 5 goals, 2 assists. Look at his goal contribution in the league. He's got about 11 goal contributions. So he's the supplier, and he could also score goals. Then you've got Ramadan Sobi, number 10, right? He's got about 5 assists in the CAF Champions League. He's the one that plays behind Umayele, and is the one that also is the one that gives the assist in front of them. Then you've got Mustafa Fati, left-footed, on the right-hand side. Ooh, what a player. He's got about 9 goal contribution, league goal contribution in their own league. That tells you about. He's also got a sweet left foot to deliver those crosses. Mohamed Chibi, Uchibi, number 15, Umfoga Chibi. He's got about 4 assists in the league. He's a right back, and also he's got a sweet right foot, and is able to deliver those balls inside the box. So watch out for that one also. He's got also goals in them. Goals in him, right? I'm very obsessed, guys, with corner kicks and set pieces. You'll notice that of late in my analysis, I don't always lift out corner kicks. Let's look at them quickly. In terms of how they defend their corner kicks, they look to you like a zonal defending, but they like to overcrowd the near post as well as the penalty zone. And if you look at it, there's huge space again, red zone, again pivotal space. in front of them, even during corner kick, they always have a space in front of them, as well as in the far post. That's another area as well that Orlando Pirates need to look at. Even though Orlando Pirates is a team that don't score normally from corner kicks, but then on their attacking side, now when they are taking corner kicks, they use the 2-3 formation, which is normally like most teams where they've got 5 players that are inside the box. Normally they'll have 3 reference players and they've got 2 initiators. That makes the run and drag defenders to open space for the 3 reference players. And normally, as I've said, the 3 reference players will be number 9, Fiston as well. Ariel is very good, as well as their captain as well. They always look at Emma outswing on their ball trajectory when they deliver the ball. So they always look at those in swings. I mean, right? They always look to play balls in the central areas most of the time. They are number 9 and number 5, as I mentioned. They are reference players. They don't seem to be so much of a side that scores a lot, but free kicks, it's where they are great. But my friends, if there's anything that I left, please let me know. Let us talk about this thing. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on my YouTube channel.